It is a coffee miracle. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another writing experiment video. So I sat down at my keyboard one morning like I normally do, but this time for some reason I was wondering how many words I could write in 20 minutes. I don't know why this popped into my head. I have done a variety of writing experiments before where, you know, I kind of required a certain amount of words in a certain amount of time, or I've done 24-hour write-a-thons, more time-based writing experiments, but this morning for some reason I was like, I just wonder. So instead of trying it that day, I typed up a message to my patrons and asked them how many words they think is a solid amount to get in 20 minutes. And in fact, how they would define a solid amount of work for one writing session at all. And I got a lot of different responses, which I loved. And we will definitely get into those because I think some people have a number amount for how they define solid and other people have a feel amount. Sometimes this differs if you're drafting versus revising versus line editing versus whatever else, right? So I just think it's kind of fascinating. But I needed their answer for the 20 minutes and the word count while drafting, I specified, so that I could begin my experiment. So basically, I think I titled this video the Stair Step Writing Experiment. I don't think that's a great title for what this is, but I couldn't really come up with anything I liked better. So for example, we'll just say that my patrons thought 100 words in 20 minutes was a solid amount. So the first 20-minute sprint I do, my goal is to beat the 100 words. If I beat the 100 words, let's say I get 150, then the next writing sprint, I go to 15 minutes with the goal to beat 150 words in that time. Does that make sense? I moved my hands a lot and none of them in the actual right stair-steppy order. So then if I beat 150 words in 15 minutes, if I beat it, I would go down to 10 minutes. Let's say I got 200 words in those 15 minutes. The new goal is 200. If I didn't beat 158, I only got 125 in 15 minutes. I would bump it back up to 20 minutes, but my goal would be that new 125. So basically you're always trying to beat your immediate past self, but the actual incremental time is just based off of whether you went faster or slower, right? Now, I don't want to spoil this too much, but I think this is one of my favorite writing experiments I've ever done. For one, you can do it a quite short amount of time. Again, I only started with 20 minutes, and so long as I beat myself, you go down in time, which I did manage to get down to 5 minutes. I won't tell you if I beat myself at 5 minutes or not, but I'm only gonna let you know that because I'll put a timestamp for when those 5 minutes start because that's the only sprint that I showed in full. Everything else is just time lapses or I kind of skip around because I did 8 sprints in total. But I know some people like to see what actually the speed of the typing and everything looks like. So anyways, again, that will be timestamped if you want to skip around. So with my plan for my stair step writing experiment in mind, the next morning I was going to check in on how many words my patrons thought was a solid amount in 20 minutes, and that was going to be my goal. So I will let that Kate take it away. Okay, so it is 7 a.m. on Thursday, February 10th, and I'm looking at where the stats ended up. So I voted for 151 to 200, but it looks like the answer is 301 to 350 for the most amount of people. So we're gonna aim for that. I'm really excited to go over how people define a solid amount of work, whether, you know, throwing away even the 20 minutes in the word count, just how do you define that for yourself? So that's going to be really fun. There were some amazing responses and kind of helped me rethink my own version of that, or add on to my own version of that, yes. But without further ado, we're gonna get started on the first 20-minute sprint. So if I don't manage to get 301 to 350, I'm gonna add 5 minutes. So I'll sprint for 25 minutes instead of 20. And then after that, it's up for me to beat myself. Yes. So that's kind of the fun way that we're gonna play with this. Vin is also very excited for it. Are you comfortable? What? They're just, oh. Do what you do, cat. It's fine. 20 minutes on the clock. Okay, drum roll please, but in that time, I got 565 words. So basically what I'll need to do next time is I'll only write for 15 minutes, but I'll have to try and beat 565 words. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my old stats for the 24-hour write-a-thons, because I think what happened is that I'd end up getting like 1 or 2 really good sprints per hour and then just like doing nothing for the rest of that hour. So during a 24-hour write-a-thon, 565 words per hour would be pretty good for like hour, you know, 5 or 6. But here I've gotten them in 20 minutes, so it's just kind of a weird thing to think about when you're measuring with words. When I think about a whole hour's worth of progress, I would be happy with 565. So it's, yeah. This was my first sprint of the day and my brain is usually better in the morning. So we'll see if this changes throughout the course of the day as we experiment further. Oh, next time though, 15 minutes. Buffy's got some medication she needs to take. Okay, girls, go ahead. Good job. Now I just have to make sure she eats it. This is usually Kitten and I's time to give love and affection. Now I'm gonna guess that I'm not gonna beat my last word count score. Oh, score does make it kind of feel like a game, which I guess it is. But 15 minutes to beat my previous score. If not, bump back up to 20. Let's freaking do this. Honestly, if I'm able to beat that in 15 minutes, I think it truly shows the power of coffee. On our mark. Get set. Ignore the tumbling and playing out there. Go! So I edited a sentence in between, not during sprints, so I actually ended up with a different starting word count, so I just have to double check. If I started at 658 and I ended at 1, 2, 4, 6, what is that? I think I might have beaten myself. 588. I did! It is a coffee miracle. Holy shit. Woo. You know what I think it was is I'm basically at the end of this chapter, and this chapter is a rewrite. Yeah, honey. So completely new words just told in a different way, and so I really knew, especially as I was getting to the end of the chapter, how it needed to be done. So I'm actually like maybe a paragraph and a half off of the end and moving on to the next chapter, so I'm very excited. But okay, there's no fucking way I'll get more than 588 words in 10 minutes, but you know what? We're gonna try.
I will. I will. Hi.
There's not room for you out here. Alright, it is almost 10, which means it is almost time for my Twitch stream, and unfortunately they're gonna be participating alongside me. They don't know it yet, but they are. So we'll have to do a warm-up 10-minute sprint and just kind of go from there and see what happens. I hope you guys are ready. We're gonna get started on the 3rd sprint of the stream. 10 minutes. All right, on your mark, get set, go. Beep, 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 beep. That is time on did. So we're gonna have to go back up to 15 minutes for this next sprint. But I feel like this is really where I'm sticking around. These past couple times it's just been between 10 and 15. Okay, so in the spirit of what time it is according to my clock / this just worked out perfectly, I am going to not fully start over the experiment, but start it with a new project. It's harder to do with one hand than I expected. Wow. There we go. Hooray. So with some candied nuts, some coffee, and the blank page, I'm going to start my 7th sprint with 10 minutes and see what I come up with. All right, and we got 4:37. What was I at before? What did I need to beat? 3:69. Oh dang, now I gotta see this through, because I'm curious what happens if I beat 4:37, because I can't go to 0. Is that the game? Maybe this has been a game all along and there is a way to win. I thought I was just caught in a loop this whole time, because I went from 20 to 15 to 10, back to 15, back to 10, back to 15, back to 10, right? I don't know that I could do 4:37 in 5 minutes. That's, yeah. Without it being nonsense is the question. Actually, for the sole purpose of setting this up, I'm gonna do 5:05, so I have time to press start and really make a go for it. On our mark, get set, go. I'll try for this. Oh. Okay, I got the point. I wrote like the wind. Let us see if it was enough. And the verdict is 779, so it was definitely not enough. So if I started with 437 and I ended with 779, that is a whole 342. I guess the real way to get out of the loop would be to work myself up, but only incrementally do better, and then you're at 0. But you know what? It is 4:10. I did a bunch of other stuff today, and I wrote, I don't know, probably like 3,000 words, and it was fun. You know, not just like the actual writing was fun, the stories have been fun, but this little game, surely someone's done this before. If I find anyone else who has done something similar, we'll link them down below, but I'm here for it. That said, I have had a couple times where I haven't been writing with the timer, so I'm actually going to fill this in. Sans timer, and probably call it a day, but let's go ahead and add this up. 20 plus 15 plus 10 plus 15 plus 10 plus 15 plus 10 plus 5. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is a total of 100 minutes of sprinting today, which I will bring this up in a moment. And a total of 3,273 words, which is incredible. I might have been one off because when I redid this, I think I might have fat keyed something, but I was only off by 1, so we might be 3,272. But anyways, kind of like what we were talking about on the Twitch stream, had I done just a straight 100 minutes, I don't think I would have managed 3,273 words, right? I think it was the addition of the small sprints and having plenty of breaks in between, but also, yeah, I do think the game aspect and trying to beat myself, while it wasn't at the forefront of my brain necessarily the entire time, really helped. Yeah, so. All right, and that is the end of my experiment. I've not yet replicated it, but I do want to do that in the future. I felt so good about the words I got, especially because it allowed me to, you know, still write in between sprints, kind of review the words, go back, edit, tinker a little bit, and then be ready for the next one. I was on no time crunch to do the sprints at a certain time, just just to do them, period. And that felt really, really nice. So that's kind of something that if you just are able to insert a little bit of writing time during random parts of your day, I think it would be kind of perfect. There was something really nice about trying to beat myself. This is just like a little fun competition. It's kind of like doing my Wordle or my Sudoku each day. But I did want to share what some of my patrons defined as a solid writing day, a solid writing session, because I really loved the responses. Mary said that while I don't think I've ever used solid to describe a writing session, I'd probably consider it solid if I'm able to stay focused regardless of how many words I actually get down, which I loved. I love that idea of just getting in the zone, and that does often feel like I've accomplished it. I've done it. Like I've achieved it for this writing session if I've been able to get in the zone and stay there. If I was not yanked out earlier than I wanted to be. Similarly, Anastasia says that solid work is focused work, not skipping over sections of what I needed to write at the time. Fox says that usually a solid writing session for me means to get done the task I sought out to finish in that session. So it can be writing a chapter, plotting something, whatever else it might be, as long as it's done, I'm happy. So kind of like a checklist sort of item. Like I wanna get this thing done, and if I do it, solid. Similarly, JL Falconbridge added that a solid session for me depends on the specific goals I set, because I do always set a goal, loose or specific, every time I sit down to draft. The goal can be small or large, like finishing a single tricky line to completing a whole chapter, which I love so much. I like having a dedicated goal, and I like that it can be a small one. So this is really kind of making me think potentially more integrally about the story, connecting the goal to the story. I've talked before about how writing vlogs aren't always as indicative as I'd like them to be, because it's easier for me to say I'm hoping to get 2,000 words today versus I'm hoping to complete this very specific arc and all of the backstory that that may contain. But I guess I never really put into words that usually when I'm sitting down to write, it is with a specific goal in mind. And I'm kind of wondering if when I've had a bad writing session, if maybe I didn't have a goal, loose or specific, you know, small or large. If I was just like, I just got to get words in today, maybe I need that goal. A lot of people mentioned that solid, especially when drafting, just means getting it out and not letting the inner critic have any kind of voice. Obviously, these goals would change when you now have your revising cap on and what a solid amount of work means then, or a solid writing session means then. But what I'm most happy about during that writing session, all of these sprints combined being the session in this case, was that I was able to make the previous chapters punchier, which was something that I was working to revise them a little bit as I was rewriting them, and also had a really good kind of like brain burst, I don't know, on how to better tell a portion of my outline. So all good things. Again, one of my favorite experiments that I've ever done, and I cannot wait to replicate it. So please do comment down below. Let me know if you've ever tried something like this before. Again, because I don't know that I have a very good phrase to describe it. I was not able to search and find too many things, but I would love to know if you guys have watched someone do something like this before in a writing vlog. Let me know how you generally feel about gamifying your writing sessions, or kind of trying to beat yourself, beat your previous self. And let me know if you've had any writing experiments that you've personally done recently and would like me to try, or would suggest for others to try. Like, I will challenge all of you to try this one. Also, let me know what a solid writing session means to you, whether that is a word count thing or just a feeling, a vibe. But that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month. Aced Coffee, Brianna Red, Haley, Jenya, and Pia, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Bye!